Hello, hello, hello. I know that it is the middle of the work day, so I'm not expecting a lot of people to be here. I am just trying desperately. I don't do lives that much, you guys. If you're watching in the replay crew, especially, I typically pre-record because of the nature of my channel. I'm a deep diver. But if you are here, thank you for being here for the lunch live. But because I am coming from you to you from the corners of shadow banning hell, we are trying to do some lives just to get the channel back up into the algorithms. This is something that I've been struggling with for years because of the research that I do on this channel, which is kind of the topic that I wanted to talk about today with you guys regarding what is going on with hidden true crime and Lauren Matthias and some stuff that's come out about potentially, I'll say allegedly, about the Lori Vallow Daybell, Chad Daybell case, especially regarding JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. And we're going to get into that in a second. I definitely want to address some stuff and why this is really interesting to me in the sense that I now, in my opinion, do believe that hidden true crime is controlled opposition. Hello from Utah. Oh, thank you so much. Well, Utah, I got to put my glasses on to make sure I can see. I'm old to make sure I can see the names properly. But let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this because we're going to get into this because and I have to watch my words, you guys, because I am shadow banned. So I have to be very careful specifically about how I talk about things on the YT. So please excuse me if I use the different words for other words that YouTube doesn't like because they watch me like a hawk here. But when JJ and Tylee were found, we're going to get into this. Because of my research into the elite, into the system, I kind of felt like there was more to the story. And when I watched Kresha's last episode, I will tag that in the comment sections. I'll pin it in the from New York. Hey, Dragonfly. Hey, girl, you've been with me all these years. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But once we're done with this lunch live, I will pin Kresha's episode that I'm talking about in the comment section so you guys can go back and watch it. I don't want to share her video because I want you guys to go and watch her because my heart, like I want to validate her so much and I know how she feels. Well, I don't know how she feels because I've never been in her situation. Like I've never been personally involved in a national case like this. So I don't know how she feels personally, but I do know what it feels like to be for people to try to make you invisible. And I think people tried to make her invisible because of what she found in her research. But we're going to get into that, you guys. Before we get into it, though, before we get into the conversation about hidden true crime, Lauren Matthias, Kresha, the Lori Vallow, Visions of Glory, Tim Ballard, all that kind of stuff, all the underbelly, the real underbelly of society. Just heads up, I put a video out last night and I'm going to if you're new here, like every year I get in the holidays, I get really excited about pineapple casserole. We've talked about that. Part of being from the South is we are known for our food. And so I have been working on content for Thanksgiving and pre-recording some stuff for Thanksgiving because I will be out of town. And I've added in some recipes like within the content, like of different Southern, like chess pie, all that kind of stuff. And so I thought maybe what we could do, a little fun for the month of November, every time we do a show, maybe I can share before we get into the episode, just some lighthearted stuff. Share a Southern recipe with you guys. And then that got me thinking even more. Since I have such an incredible global community here on Esoteric Atlanta, I would love it if you guys, since we're coming up in America, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, but globally, we're coming up to Christmas. So if you guys want to create with me an Esoteric Atlanta cookbook, please email me a recipe that you want to share from your family or your area of the world, your culture. Tell me where you're from. If you want to add a story to it, like where this recipe came about, like a family story, add it to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the recipes that are submitted to me and I'm going to put them in a PDF cookbook. All right. And I'm going to put that cookbook hopefully on my Substack. So if you're not a part of my Substack, subscribe to it so you can download it for free. This is going to cost you nothing. It's just a community. It's a group project, right? For us to share. I feel like the world is so dark right now and it's getting darker and darker and darker. And I feel like food is a way, even though I'm not much of a foodie, it is a way for people to share love, like to feed somebody, to nourish somebody, and for us to share recipes from our own culture with people from all over the world to share. It's a way to share in our culture. And so if you want to do that, if you have a recipe that you want to send to me, make sure you send it to me by December 5th, about a month from now. That gives us enough time. And I will put all the recipes together on a PDF. I'll put the PDF for people to download so they can just print it off. And then hopefully we'll have it ready to go by like December 10th. So people have it like 15 days before Christmas. So if there's a fun recipe you want to try with your family from across the world, if you find something fun you want to share, then it will be there. And so if that's something you want to do, you guys just email me at esotericatlanta@gmail.com, my channel name at gmail.com, put recipe in the subject line because I do get bombarded with emails. And so I don't want to miss an email. So put recipe in the subject line so I can go ahead and save it. And then we can start working on that. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section if that's something that you think is a good idea and a way for us to kind of like, share some love in this time of this timeline that we're living in that seems to be pretty dark. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and share a quick. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Dragonfly. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But we would love to have your corn souffle recipe from him if you want to share it. We would love it. A way to honor him. Again, food is love, right? Like all your moms and dads in the chat, you make your sandwiches for your kids and you make sure that they get the crust cut off if that's what they want. And so this is a way for us to share love from our own cultures and with each other for the holiday season. And thank you. I appreciate y'all's knowledge too. Like there's only so far we can go by ourselves. I'm a one-woman show, but let's go ahead before we get into it because I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to share with you guys today while we wait for more people to get into Southern, what they call it, cheesy Southern tomato pie. So in the South, again, if you're not from the United States, the South is absolutely known for its food. Soul food, as we call it down here. We fry everything. And so this is a well-made Southern tomato pie, contains a little more than fresh plump tomatoes, a mixture of cheese, mayonnaise, it's got to be Duke's, and chopped fresh herbs as basil. All right, so I'm going to also tag this down once we're off in the description box. But this is a really awesome that anybody can because I'm not good at cooking. My boyfriend's really good at cooking. But it's got all the ingredients. It's basically tomatoes, a crust. They've sauteed some onions, cheese, mayonnaise, baked. It's super easy. Most kids like it. You can freeze it. And so this is big in the South. So I'm going to tag this down below. And again, every episode we do leading up to Thanksgiving, I'm going to be sharing a Southern recipe. And tomorrow is your belated mom's. Oh, yes, we'd love to have your mom's lasagna. Anything you guys want to submit. I mean, that's again, like I love pineapple casserole is my absolute favorite dish of all times. It is basically pineapples, Ritz crackers, sharp cheddar cheese, flour, sugar. It's not healthy at all. And we only ever make it at the holiday season. It's not something that I make just on a random Tuesday, right? It's only really eaten during Thanksgiving and Christmas. But it's also kind of easy for a breakfast dish too, even though it's a side dish. So it's kind of fun to share that recipe in case you have friends coming in and you want to make them an interesting breakfast. But that's big. Pineapple casserole is big down here in the South. And so it's something that we can all share from our heritage with each other. I am of the belief that culture is meant to be shared. It's meant to be shared with other people. And so please, if you want to do this with me, just send me your recipe. Again, if it's your mom's recipe or your dad's recipe, if you want to tell a little story about them, an anecdote about them, go ahead and put it in there so other people can read it and share in your family's story. And then of course they can share theirs as well. And we can just all share together. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, but if you want to do it, send it to esotericatlanta@gmail.com, and I'll start collecting those recipes and we'll put it together. My boyfriend's an artist. Todd is an artist. So that's what he originally went to school for. So I'll have him design like a little cover page, and then we'll just put it up as a PDF. It'll be free. It'll be free. I'll put it up as a PDF and people can just print it off. Right. So I know, already getting hungry. Yeah. we have to start thinking about that, because here in the United States, like, we're rolling right in after Halloween. It's like right into the holiday seasons. And so here we are. Right. So, and Thanksgiving is my personal favorite holiday because there's no expectation of gifts. There's no gifts at Thanksgiving. It's just people together around a table of food, being and drinks are involved and laughing and having fun. And that's my favorite holiday. So, with that being said, we are going to change directions and get back now to why I wanted to do this live today. And I want to start talking about this like true crime phenomenon. I don't know if this is actually a new phenomenon. I know people think it is. I think I think human beings have been fascinated by true crime for a very long time. I mean, we think about back, I'm a history. If you're new to this channel, a lot of my deep dives are looking for patterns in history. And history is fascinating to me. My older subscribers know that I always laugh and say history is my favorite subject because it ain't nothing but gossip. Like, that's all history is gossip, and it's petty gossip. But if we think back at the Tudor dynasty or the French Revolution, people would go and like watch executions. That was kind of entertainment, which is crazy to think about. So I think this phenomenon with like true crime has been around for a long time. And I think it goes back to the age old question, like, why are we here? What is death? What's the point of all of this? Right. And so I think that's why we're attracted to true crime. Awesome. You're prepping recipes to send to me. Awesome. 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 And I think that now, though, true crime has taken on a different persona. When I was growing up, most of you before the internet, back in the late 1900s, as the kids say today, we didn't have the internet, right? We had television, and you had to catch certain shows at certain times. Like Dateline would come on at a particular time. But I remember like watching Dateline with my mom, all that kind of stuff. But then as the internet grew and podcasting grew, our access to these crimes got even bigger, and these more sensational crimes got even bigger. And there's been a lot of debate since the whole hidden true crime fiasco meltdown that happened a few weeks ago. I can't remember the date specifically, the 9-hour live, about the ethics around reporting on true crime. And there's a lot of people, and I don't know, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I don't know what the answer is. I get what people are saying about the ethics. Like, we have to remember that these are human lives. JJ and Tylee were children. Charles, Vallow, potentially more. I know there's whispers of potentially there being more people, but nobody else, they haven't been charged with anybody else. And where is that line, right? Like, and a lot of times with these cases, the media, the victims, the families of the victims, like, need the media in order to keep the case in the spotlight. If something happened to one of my nephews or nieces, I would definitely, I live right across the street from CNN. I'd be pounding on their door, even though I'm not a fan of CNN. I'd be pounding on their door to anything to get the word out to help me find my family. And so I understand why like Kay Woodcock and Larry Woodcock like went to the media. I get it. I would do the exact same thing. If it wasn't, I wonder sometimes if it wasn't for Kay Woodcock, who was JJ's grandmother, if things, she was so insistent because she hadn't seen her grandson. And so it was because of her, in my opinion, that this case got big and hit national coverage, because she, like any grandmother, would not let it go. And so I think that she did what any grandmother would have done, what any mother would have done, what any family member would have done, would have beaten down the doors of every possible news agency, police force to help her find her grandchild, right? So it's, I don't know what the answer is, but I do think that Lauren Matthias from Hidden True Crime it is very strange how close she gets to the victims. And again, I've gotten close to people that I film with that I consider them friends, but the people that I film with, I don't consider my subjects. My subjects have been gone for like 500 years, right? Like Catherine de Medici she's been gone for a while, right? Like I can research her and talk about her as a subject, but she's not, I can't be close to her because she's been gone for a very long time. So it's different. And again, I don't know what the answer is, but I wanted to address that at first. Like I do think it's important. And with that, with and this kind of gets to Crush and why I think you guys should absolutely all go subscribe. She is JJ Vallow's aunt. Okay. Her brother is the father of JJ Vallow, but her uncle was raising JJ with Lori. Her uncle Charles was unalived. You guys probably all remember the story. And then after that, soon after that, Tylee and JJ were also unalived by Lori, which we're going to get into kind of what Kresh is talking about and what I was trying to get into back when this first case was breaking. So I want to again go back to this whole idea of true crime and why it matters and why a lot of people are talking about there needs to be kind of, maybe we should ethically relook at the way that we handle true crime. You know, people have, I've never been to Crime Con. Frankly, I can't afford it. Like that is crazy expensive. And some people are of the belief that Crime Con is irresponsible, that it's kind of making a mockery of these victims. But Crime Con also invites victims, surviving victims, like family members of these big cases, into Crime Con. So some people say, you know, it's a community. It's people who have gone through this horrific thing on a on a national level. They can kind of have a community because nobody's going to understand what that's like to be under the national spotlight when a family member goes missing. Like none of us are ever, hopefully will never have to experience that. And for the people who do, I can understand why they would want to have a place where they can connect with other people who have also been through it, because they can commiserate, right? And they can feel that support. And so again, with that kind of stuff, I don't know what the answer is. I can see both sides. Yes, we need media attention on these cases. Yes, there is a need for humans to help each other when it comes to these horrific things that happen. But do some people go too far? Absolutely, they do. Like I think Lauren Matthias has gone too far with like enmeshing herself in with the family. But after watching Crush's video, I have an idea as to why she does that, and that's what we're going to get to. But I'm building up to it. So that brings us to YouTube. And like all of these true crime YouTube channels, all that kind of stuff. Now, as I just said, I am always on YouTube's naughty list. I have been for many years. YouTube, there's a lot of politics behind YouTube. And I've had to pay the price for that. You know, I think a lot, I was listening to things Kresha was saying, and I think a lot of people think that those of us on YouTube make a lot of money doing this. I don't. Some people do. I lose money doing this. I'm poverty. Like I've lost so much money because they have punished me. I have been punished for my research. And I know that, but I'm not going to stop because I'm an Aquarian and we're stubborn. And so you keep shadow banning me, I'm going to keep pushing back, because when they shadow ban you, it's for a reason. And I don't know what part of my research is accurate, but obviously something is accurate, or I wouldn't be shadow banned. I wouldn't have all my money taken from me. I wouldn't be where I am now in this shithole of poverty. But there are other YouTubers who do make millions off of this stuff. Hidden true crime is, in my opinion, looking at some of the statistics, I don't know for sure. I don't know their finances, but it looks like they've made millions. And in saying that, I'm not opposed to people getting paid for their work. I need to be very clear about that. Like if you're going to cover true crime, you're going to bring attention to cases, you're going to travel to wherever state it is and sit through the trial and have to book a hotel or an Airbnb. You need money to do that. Like you need to make a living to be able to do that. So it's an energy exchange. So I'm not against people making money off of it. But again, there comes a limit. It's nuanced. I get that. And I don't know what the answer is. But with YouTube, again, back in 2020, when I started my channel, And again, I've got to be very careful about how I say that because you guys know YouTube doesn't like me. They don't like when I talk about this stuff. But back in 2020, when the world locked down, that was the biggest mistake, huge, huge mistake that the system made, that the establishment made. Because with a bunch of us bored at home, we started digging. That's when I started my channel. We were seeing all these reports, and then some of us, like myself, about numbers, and you guys know what I'm referring to. I'm not going to say it because of YouTube, but we would go and look at like the CDC website, and what they were saying on CNN or Fox was not matching what was on the CDC website. And so some of us started to get a little curious. Something's not right. This is not right. Why are our constitutional rights being taken from us without reason? Right? This is, in my opinion, treason. To put us in this situation is treasonous in the United States because it strips each citizen of their constitutional rights, which is the main priority in this country. And so I started my channel, and I was doing like ghost stories and urban legends. And then I just was like, you know what? We're going to talk about this because something's not right. Something's going on. Now, I was already familiar with like the Saturnalian fraternity. I had started learning about that in like 2016. I've told that story before. So I was already aware of like an agenda, that there was this establishment that had this agenda. I don't know when I actually learned. I can't remember when I actually learned about the children. That's all I'll say. Kresha has a lot to say about that. Yeah, I did the missing books of the Bible. I started to realize how much we've been, the good side of it throughout history, the side that burns books, the side that censors has never been on the right side of history. If people who have nothing to hide nothing. People who are truly interested in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, people who are truly interested in the well-being of humans don't censor. Right? They allow people to make their own choices, to be fully autonomous, sovereign individuals who make their own decisions based off of the information given to them. When I started to talk about this more, that's when I started to get shadow banned. So, you follow the money. Like, who owns YouTube, right? You follow the money. I had to learn how to work around it with the backup channel on RUMBLE. And again, like a dog with a bone, the more I got punished, the more I had money taken from me, the more I kept pushing and the more I kept pushing, because you're doing this to me for a reason. And not just me, there's many channels like mine that are taking these hits. Right. And so there's an agenda at play here. There's an absolute agenda at play here. The system is working itself. And then I started to notice, because I was doing all these shows, if many of you have been here with me for a long time, I used to do shows with a lot of people. But a lot of these people, these so-called truthers, I got to know them offline as well. And I thought we were on the same team. I thought we were interested in finding the truth. And I didn't think that we were. I thought both of us were untouchable when it came to selling out. I was wrong. Most of the people that I used to film with sold out. They take money from the establishment, from the system, to put in junk conspiracy, to distract people. So people who were starting to wake up to this satanic agenda, we'll call it, whatever's going on, people who were starting to wake up and see the truth, they herded them. What the establishment did was herded those people over to this now what is controlled opposition, because these people are also being paid by the establishment to tell a false tale. I'm talking about Nasara. I'm talking about medbeds. I'm talking about these people who sit on their channels and tell you that it's all over, that there's no bad guys left in the world. That's controlled opposition. There are bad guys left in the world. Absolutely. And so that's why I don't film with many people anymore, because I learned the one thing I'm proud, even though it's really hard because we very much struggle financially. Like, I have literally lost so much money doing this. I know that I can't be bought. I've proven to myself that I cannot be bought, and I have been offered. I have emails of people offering me money to promote certain things, and I will not do it. I'm not going to do it. And so this is all to make a point to get to what Kresha is saying, because I have all these years of experience. I'm not in her shoes because this has never happened to me in my family, but I understand what she's saying about this idea of this system that is working in the underbelly of our society. And it's wild because, yeah, and when they locked us down, before then we were all too busy to like realize what was happening, to realize the censorship that was going on, to realize these children that were going missing, to realize all these things. And then we had, and I can't say it, guys, because of my channel, we had that island down in the Caribbean that Andrew likes to go to, owned by Jeffrey, that island, that whole situation. Why are there temples? Why are there temples? Okay, so we've got one situation with the business, we'll say the industry that goes on down there. We know what I'm talking about, that industry. That's one thing. But then we also have temples. Why are there temples? Then you got to start to look at the religious practices. I'm talking about the Sabbateans. I'm talking about the Saturnalian fraternity. I'm talking about the Mormons. I'm talking about the Scientologists. I'm talking about the high-level Christian churches, all of them. We know from Jesse Zaboter, a whistleblower whom I would love to set Kresha up with. I would love to connect Kresha with Jesse Zaboter. Absolutely. I think that Jesse could really help Kresha because she could probably fill in some blank spots for her. But as Jesse Zaboter has said, the 5 pillars of the satanic faith, what are they? One of them is Mormonism. One is Scientology. One is the Christian churches. Okay. And I know that's hard to hear. And that's when I started to get unaliving threats myself, when I started to talk about this stuff, especially with the missing books of the Bible. And this is just the reality. And you know, I always say, like, one thing I've learned about God, because I do absolutely believe in God, I have a very strong faith in God, is that I've learned that a lot of people in this world don't actually believe in God. They believe in the system. They believe in the system. So they believe in their church. They believe in dogma. They believe in the rules given to them by man, by this book that was written by King James and the Freemasons, and has been edited, 55 times, over 55 times since the 1700s. That's what they believe in. They don't actually believe in God. Because if you believe in God, then all of this stuff, these facts, these are actual facts, won't matter to you. They'll piss you off because you see how people have been lied to. But as far as your faith in God, my faith in God has actually gotten stronger through this experience. It hasn't diminished, right? It's only gotten stronger. And it just makes me mad that people have weaponized God in order to trick people into following a system. Religion is part of the system. Religion means the worship of many legions. We're big on etymology here on this channel, right? And so, 50C3 regulations. Are our church and state separate? Are they? They're supposed to be in the United States, but are they? They have 50C3 regulations. That's, even though it's non-government, non-profit, it's still government, right? And so basically, if we're prioritizing church, any church, whether that's Presbyterian, Catholic, Scientology, Mormon temple, a Jewish synagogue, whatever. If we're prioritizing that, if we're taking a knee to that, what are we taking a knee to? The system, the government, right? And so with that being said, with YouTube, what's happened is that, going back to the whole true crime thing and the religious aspect of the Daybell case, the Vallow Daybell case, is that we have this conundrum of a crime that revolved around a system. And so many people want to tie a nice little bow around it and be like, these are just wackadoo people who had wackadoo beliefs that have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with the mainstream LDS Church. But that's not true. That is not true. And what's happening now with the Daybell Vallow case, as well as everything else under the sun, is that people like you and me, I mean, I'm filming in my bedroom, right? Like I'm filming in my bedroom right now. Like we're sitting in our houses doing regular research and coming on these, creating these channels and being like, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Because I think we're being lied to. I think the media is lying to us. And I think at this point, like again, they really messed up in 2020. Yeah. Because in 2020, that's when people really realized that we were being lied to. Every different news station around the world had an agenda. And we know that's true, right? If you're more liberal, you're going to watch CNN. If you're more conservative, you're going to watch Fox. Yeah, that you already know because both CNN and Fox are going to have the same story, but they're going to spin it to their audience to give confirmation bias to their audience, depending on which way they politically lean. Journalism, in my opinion, true journalism should be unbiased. It should just be, this is what's happened. And that's the news, folks. Like, that's it, you know, instead of having this like propaganda spin to it. And I think, again, in 2020, almost 6 years ago, guys, we're almost coming up to a 6-year mark. People started to really realize how much we have been fucked with. And then we started to look at our history and our education and, you know, other stuff I can't say, these, you know, and started to realize like, holy crap, nothing that we have been told is real. Yeah, Dragonfly, we don't have TV here at all. We just watch streaming services. And it's crazy. Every time I go to somebody's house where they have cable, it's amazing. Like they'll have the news on all day and it's just constantly programming you. It's part of the MK, you know, I'm not going to finish that, but it's part of that programming, subliminal programming into the mind to believe a certain narrative. And so at that point, when more and more people like myself started to go, I don't think this is the full story. I don't think this is true. Here's my research. What do y'all think? On our own channels, we created these independent research channels. I don't consider myself to be media. I don't even consider myself to be a journalist. I am an American 42-year-old girl who's pissed off because I don't like the system telling me what to do. I don't want the system telling me how I should live my life. And I have a feeling that there are more people out there that feel the same way as me. Now, when we come into what's called the truther world, which is the world I found myself in, but now try to get myself out of, because I realized the truther world is just, as I was telling you guys, it's just as controlled as the normies. Just as controlled. It's called controlled opposition, which is what I think hidden true crime is, in my opinion. And we're going to get to that. I do believe that they are controlled opposition, in my opinion. I'm going to get to that, though. But I'm giving this back information just to kind of, you know, set the scene, right? And basically, in case Kresha sees this, to be like, girl, you're not crazy. You're right. Like, you know, she said in her latest life, she said something that kind of broke my heart, that I think I'm paraphrasing, about like being alone and not many people see this. And I was screaming at the YouTube. I was like, no, girl, there's a whole community. There's a whole community out there of people that absolutely see what you see. You are not alone. There's a lot of people out there that see what you see. And yes, Dragonfly, absolutely just the other side of the same coin. The truther community is the other side of the normie coin. They are controlled by controlled opposition, almost worse. It's almost worse in the truther world, because what happened in the truther world is that in 2020, they were right about so many things that now their ego has, their pride, you know, pride cometh before the fall. Their pride has blown up. And so to challenge them now to say, I don't know if you're correct about, I think you're believing some falsities. You've been put back to sleep. Oh, they don't like to hear that. Right. And that's exactly what the system knows. The establishment knows that. They know how the human mind works. And that's why they paid off a lot of these so-called truthers to keep the truthers docile and to keep them getting sicker, because they all think a med bed's coming. So they're just getting sicker. They're not taking care of themselves, getting poorer because they think Nasara is coming. So they're not paying their credit card bills. They're not, you know, so they're getting them to a point where they're going to be desperate. And actually, that's going to come into this, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. They talk about that plan to do that to people. And so I've been kind of by myself in the corner with a few, like Dragonfly, a few of you guys, Silver Lining. I know a few of you guys have been kind of with me in this corner where, yeah, Judith too, like where where we're all just kind of like, wait a minute, both sides are not correct. Both sides of this are part of the system. And I think that's where Kresha is, in my opinion. I've never spoken to Kresha. I would love to have her come on. But from what I hear from her and being in this world myself for almost 6 years now, I feel like that's what she's saying too. Even with like Trump, like I am very on the fence. I still don't know. And I think the more you wake up, the more you truly wake up, the more discernment you start to have, the more humility you start to have. I mean, listen, I fell for hidden true crime. That's why, just so you guys know, that's why I'm still following them, is because I want to keep up with what they're doing. And I want to talk about that as well. That is why I'm still following hidden true crime. I've been promoting them on this channel. And now I'm going to eat my words and tell you guys, hey, wait a minute. I think they might be controlled opposition, but I'm still following them, not to give them money, but I want to make sure I'm keeping up with what they're saying and what they're doing. And let me just make this really clear. Back to the whole YouTube as a business thing. As Kresha said on her stream that she's in poverty, so am I. So am I. Same thing. I can't even afford to get StreamYard, you guys. Like, that's how crunched we are for money. And it's because of Todd that I am able to continue to do this. We have had a conversation where even he has said, this is really important. You need to keep doing this. It's okay. You just need to keep putting your research out. And so thank you to him that he is able. If I was by myself and single, I wouldn't be able to do this. So he is the reason why I am able to sit here at 12:36 p.m. on a Tuesday and talk about this with you guys. It's because of him. So he is the one that appreciates this and has been able to financially support us right now. It's tough. It's tough so that I can do this work, because this is important. He's been awake for a very long time, since like 2001. So it's important, right? And he has his channel too now. So if you guys go subscribe to The Confused Wanderer, that will be my backup channel too, in case anything ever happens here, will be with his channel. So he is a great man. He really is a great man. And he gets it. He can't be bought either, right? Like he's a big picture guy like I am. And he's like, it's fine. If we don't have children to support, we have Ravi. Most of our money goes to Ravi, our dog, but we are in the perfect situation. We don't have to pay for braces. We don't have to pay for education. We don't have to pay for soccer camp. We don't have that. So we are in the perfect situation to live in poverty, to get this stuff out, get research out there, and support other researchers who are to get the truth out there, right? We're in the perfect situation with you guys. Like, I'm not doing this alone. This is why I called my channel Esoteric Atlanta. I didn't put my name on it because it's a community. I wanted it to be a community. Oh, thank you, Dragonfly. I appreciate that. Oh, I'll get Ravi a treat. Don't worry, Ravi still lives a good life. We make sure Ravi lives a good life. But and that's our, we teach traditional yoga outside of this. And so we really want to help people. Like, that's, we're tough love, we're no nonsense, but we also really want to help. We really want to help people. And I think you guys do as well. And again, like, a lot of you guys have kids. A lot of you guys have stuff where you're not in the position to be able to take on something like this. And so that's why I'll do it, because all I need is you guys in the comment section helping me spread these videos, right? And sharing. That's all I need to, because it's not just my research. People send me stuff all the time. But nonetheless, I know I'm getting off track. I want to talk about these bigger YouTube channels. Now, a lot of these really big YouTube channels become so profitable that they're able to like be a proper business and like hire people, like hire researchers, hire editors, hire producers. I'm all of that. I do all of that. I do my own researching. I do my own editing, because I can't afford. And, I do know some YouTubers who get kind of famous and they'll use that to like get people to do work for them for free. I would never do that. That is so disgusting to me. I'm big on energy exchange. And if I was able to afford to pay somebody properly, like give them a living salary to make sure they were taken care of, to help me with Esoteric Atlanta, I would. I absolutely would. I had someone leave a comment once to me that I should have somebody checking my email, because I do get behind them. I'm one person. And I just responded. I was like, I would do that if I could have. I'm not going to have somebody check my emails for me, manipulate them to check my emails for me without paying them. Like, their time is valuable. Every human being's time is valuable. And if someone ever worked for me and did work for Esoteric Atlanta, I would want to compensate them for their time. I'm never going to take advantage of someone. So that's kind of what, there's just a lot of stuff, politics that go on with these channels. And that's great. That's the positive thing about YouTube, right? That's the great thing about YouTube, is that you can build your own business if you want to. There's tons of channels out there, great exercise channels, great, art channels that can really build a brand off of their own hard work. And that's incredible. That's the American dream. But unfortunately, if you're in the genre that I'm in and you're testing and questioning the narrative too much, you eventually get strapped to the corner and hidden. Okay. And so that's why I don't make money doing this, is because I can't. I know that there are tons of commercials on my stuff. I didn't put those commercials there. YouTube is doing that. YouTube takes the proceeds from that, not me. So anyway, and I also had my AdSense stolen like 4 years ago as well from one of the controlled opposition people. That's still ongoing. I have filed with the FBI, all that kind of stuff, because they're in a different country, and I have taken monetization off my channel, but I know that YouTube still takes, right? So anyway, let's get back into why that matters with hidden true crime. Okay. So we talked about MSN, mainstream media, and YouTube, crime con, good or bad, I don't know. Well, Kresha, so back when JJ Vallow and JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan were found. Now, if you guys have been around for a long time, even though I'm talking about conspiracies in the system, you guys know, again, that I like to call out junk conspiracy. I come down hard on that, like the med beds, the Nasara, because I want to get people to like really wake up and to stop believing this bullshit, so that we don't have a situation with honestly, like the truther community is going to be the first. Watch, mark my word, the truther community will be the first to take the knee to the New World Order. Like they just will, because they've fallen for it. They've gotten into wishful thinking. They've gone back to sleep, all that kind of stuff. So, when it comes to conspiracy, sometimes I pull back a bit and I'm like, we don't want to go down a junk conspiracy cul-de-sac. We don't want to be spinning in circles talking about something that doesn't matter. But when it comes to JJ Vallow, when it comes to Tylee Ryan, when it comes to the Delphi case, when it comes to Brian Kohberger and the Idaho 4, this matters. Why? Because we are not getting the full story. We are not getting the full story. Now, yes, Chad Daybell is sitting on unaliving row, we'll say. He is on unaliving row right now for his part in the unaliving of Tammy. I forgot about his wife, Tammy. So Tammy, Charles, JJ, and Tylee. The kids were found on his property, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Lori got life sentences because of some competency things, or maybe something by the court due process or something. She didn't. The ultimate penalty was not on the table for her. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he is on the unaliving row. And I am not. I have said this before. feel very weird about the penalty, we'll say. Georgia has the penalty. I feel very weird about it. In a lot of cases, I'm not super cool with it. For example, if you guys haven't seen that Eileen Wuornos documentary that was just released, it is so good. And even though she was crazy, I think she got that way because of abuse. And the first guy that she unalived, she claimed that he SA'd her. No one believed her. But then afterwards, they found where he had already been like charged. It's a great documentary to watch, which really makes you question like the penalty. Is the penalty acceptable in certain situations? Nonetheless, with Chad, absolutely, I think he deserves the penalty. Absolutely, I do. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on that as well. But so we do, in a sense, have the culprits in prison, right? Lori is in prison. She's not getting out anytime soon. Chad is on unaliving row. He's never going to step outside and see the light of day for the rest of his life, right? He might not live to see his date, we'll say his due date, but he's never getting out. Neither is she. There are people in this case, though, that I question why they haven't been charged. Look at Brandon Boudreaux, his wife. Like, why wasn't she charged? I have questions. Why weren't more people charged? Now, sometimes in different states, because this did cross different states, different prosecutors will use different, sometimes they let people off if they give them information. There could have been some of those deals done. I don't know. But nonetheless, there's a bigger story here. There is a bigger story here. There's a way bigger story with Delphi, in my opinion, and there's a way bigger story with the Idaho 4. These are two other cases where they're pulling the wool over our eyes. And that's where I want to talk about Lauren Matthias off of Hidden True Crime. Now, it's fine if you want to believe the narrative. And one of the comments I saw about her was somebody was annoyed because she was so pro-prosecution. Like, she's very pro-prosecution. And sometimes I think that clouds your judgment. Like, when you look at these cases and you look at the pattern of these cases, especially when you are slightly educated in like the occult, you start to see things that are not adding up. And in my opinion, there's a reason why these cases got so big. How many people are unalived today in the United States? I mean, countless people are unalived every day in the United States in heinous ways. Most of the time, Todd and I talk about this a lot, like how scary it is. Most of the time when people unalive someone, they get away with it. Most of the time they get away with it. Did you guys know that? Like, statistically, most of the time people do get away with it. That's how, so why is it that these particular cases blew up? Why is that these particular cases blew up? Putting JJ and Tylee aside for a moment, because Kate Woodcock, I think, was a warrior to really get that case out there. But when we look at Delphi and the Idaho 4, why did those cases get really big and others didn't? Why? Is it because they're associated with some sort of systematic ritual and therefore they need to be big? I don't know. I'm speculating here. But when it comes to Lauren and Dr. John, one thing that used to annoy me about their channel before I felt like they feel like they're a controlled opposition, is that sometimes they would make like snarky remarks about people who questioned the verdicts or questioned the person, the defendant. Like, are you sure that's the guy? Like, they would kind of get snarky about it. Like, basically, they were kind of, from my perspective of what they were saying, is like, it's the narrative. It's nothing but the narrative, which is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Now, you can agree with the prosecution. You can agree with them, but you always need to have an open mind. Is the prosecution giving you confirmation biased? Is the prosecution making you feel like this is a one-off case? Because that's the scary thing. If there is a secret occult group running around doing shenanigans, then none of us are saved. Oh, hi, Tally. Found you yesterday going, yeah, start from the beginning. I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on this. If there's a secret occult group running around doing these shenanigans that connect to the highest levels of government, none of us are safe. None of us are safe. But if it's just a one-off with some crazy people, we're safe. So I think that's why people want to believe the prosecution. Kresha also said something that I say all the time, and she said this a few times in her 5-hour episode, where she said, people are like, I don't believe it. And she said, and I say this too all the time, well, it doesn't matter if you don't believe it. They do. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in black magic. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in occult practices. What does that matter? What matters is they do. And if they believe in this, if they believe that animals or children or something like that have a special elixir of life force that they want to use, then they're gonna practice their religious beliefs and do what they do. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It doesn't matter. They do. That's the problem. And I'm such a huge like constitutionalist here in the United States. Like, I absolutely believe people need freedom of religion. I think you should believe whatever you want. But even if you're a Satanist, you have the right to be a Satanist if you live here in the United States. I would never take that right away from you, but you cannot hurt somebody else. You cannot cross those lines, because the minute you hurt something else, it stops being about religion and it becomes a felony. You cannot do that. You can be a Satanist, but don't do blood rituals. You can't. That's against the law. That's where I draw the line. But when these people are higher ups, again, it's a problem. It's a boys club, or what was it? Carlin, was his name George Carlin, who said it's a club and you ain't in it. We ain't in it. We're not in that. I don't want to be a part of their club anyway. I'd rather be with all the peasants here. I just would rather be a peasant with you guys than dealing with I'd rather be in poverty than do what these people do. No amount of money is ever going to make me want to live the life that they live. But anyway, so does that make sense? Please stop me if I don't make sense. I'm trying to give a background to what Kresha is saying, especially for new people to my yes, Dragonfly, we're peasants, peasants unite. We'll just say we just have fun sharing our recipes from our cultures with each other. That's how we share love. They take it. And so yes, peasants unite, Jim Brown, absolutely. So you guys, Jim Brown, Dragonfly, you guys have Judith, you've been with me for many years. So you guys have been down this major rabbit hole with me. And that is why I really want you guys to go over there and support Kresha. I will again tag her channel. I had every little secret. I had everything pulled up for this live. And then like 5 minutes before we went live, everything crashed. So I had to pull things up. So after we're done, I will tag Kresha's channel again in the description box. So if you're watching in the replay, it's in the description box. And so please go over and subscribe to her, support her, because more than us, she is in this because her family was taken from her by this system, in my opinion. And I think I can say by her opinion as well. So she started to realize to do research, and that's when she this 5-hour episode she did the other night was phenomenal, you guys. She brought all the receipts. Yes, peasant power. Like the elites inbreed too. That's why the peasants nowadays look a lot cuter than some of the elites. So I'll take it any day. But she really, for all these years, and I can see her why she was motivated to do this, because it was her nephew, it was her cousin, it was her uncle that lost their lives. And so she went down the rabbit hole to try to figure out what actually happened, because we know that they lost their lives because of, we know that Lori and Chad, that's not a secret. They were into some weird shit through the Mormon Church, some weird belief systems. They were labeling people dark and light, zombies, all that kind of stuff. We know that has been open record. But where is that belief coming from? I think is where, if I'm paraphrasing what I got from Kresha, like, where is that belief coming from? And that brought her into the underbelly of the Mormon Church. Now, Kresha is not Mormon. I think she said she was raised Catholic. I was raised Presbyterian. And this is the thing, like with the Mormon Church, like we've talked a lot about Mormonism here on my channel. I've got a lot of ex-Mos. I know people who are still practicing Mormons who are amazing people. And so when I talk about the corruption and the truth of Mormonism, I again, just like when I talk about, the Christian missing books of the Bible, like I'm talking about the system. Of course, there are great people still in the church who would never do anything, and their belief really is in God and not in the system, but they go to church because it's cultural. Like, I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual system, the actual establishment, not the people, the establishment. When JJ and Tylee were found, I remember going, there's more to this, especially when I started looking into Visions of Glory, which I'm going to pull up here in a minute. And there were things about Visions of Glory that really set out red flags and alarm bells within me, because there's a lot in Visions of Glory that are very reminiscent of things that people talk about in the Truth or World too. Quickly, Tally O, I know that happens sometimes when they don't, it's a YouTube thing, and it's not because I'm shadow banned. YouTube just does this sometimes. It's a problem across all the channels where you don't get notified. If you want, you can subscribe to my Substack, and I will send you, every time I do a live or have a new video, I send an email through Substack that goes to you guys. If it's not in the description box right now, I will put it in after we're done. I'll go back and put it in. But the Substack, you guys, Esoteric Atlanta, it's either under Esoteric Atlanta or my name, Bryce Elizabeth Watson, on Substack. It's free. You just subscribe, and I make it a point every time I drop a video, I send it out on Substack. Every time I'm about to go live, I send an email. So that kind of takes care of that problem of being notified. It allows me the opportunity to notify you versus the platform. Also, which we'll get to in a minute, Substack allows you to upload videos as well. So for my French people, my Norwegian people who don't get RUMBLE, that platform, I can put some of these really spicy videos also on Substack that solves that problem. So please subscribe to my Substack because I can then keep in touch with you guys outside of the bowels of YouTube. Yes, Jojo, I know you're on your lunch break. I thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for coming in. It's again, we're going to try to go live more this month just to help with the shadow banning situation. But anyway, so Kresha realized that there was obviously more to this when she started to dig into the belief system. Again, we have gone through Mormonism on my channel. I read many years ago before I was on YouTube. I actually read the Book of Mormon because I was curious. I just wanted to know what they believed. This was long before I was on YouTube. It was the most boring yet wildest book at the same time I've ever read. I remember thinking, what the fuck? Because I was reading it. The Lamanites, the Nephites, we've got some angels I've never heard of before. And that's the funny thing I've noticed when I talk to Mormons today who are not like, who are like from Utah or from other areas of the world. I don't think they realize that the mainstream, like I grew up like if you're Presbyterian, Methodist, Episcopalian, Catholic, Baptist, whatever, that's like mainstream Christianity, right? Like that's been around for a long time, mainstream. I don't think the Mormons realize that we don't know who Moroni is. Like Moroni's not like, he's not a character in like the Bible. And I've noticed that it cracks me up with some Mormons. They're like, Moroni. And I'm like, who? No, like I know Gabriel, I know Michael, but like, who are you talking about? Who's Moroni? Who are the Nephites? Who are the Lamanites? Like I was reading the Book of Mormon again. It was so boring, but yet wild at the same time. But then I never read the Doctrine and Covenants. There are other things about the Mormon faith. They got a bunch of books that I didn't read. There's a great podcast called My Book of Mormon, which is hysterical. After I read the Book of Mormon, I went and listened to My Book of Mormon. It's this guy who grew up mainstream Christian like us, and he reads the Book of Mormon and he gives commentary because he's never read it before. It's hysterical. Kind of the same thoughts I was having when I was reading it. But with Mormonism, as you guys know, Mormonism absolutely fascinates me, but I would never want to be in it. And I would never want to date somebody or marry somebody in it. It is a cult. It is a cult. It is a cult. And it is one that is based off of satanic occult practices. I know that's hard for people to hear. Don't worry. So is the Christian church. The Christian church is it's also based off of some satanic stuff too, right? We've talked about that before. I think the thing with Mormonism though, is that it's a newer religion. With Christianity, it's been around. The Catholic Church has been around for 2,000 years. The Protestant churches have been around for like 500 years. I think it's just so old now that people can kind of be half in, half out, and it doesn't matter. It's more cultural at this point. But with the Mormon church, because it's so new, it is like all in. And they believe in like different planets. They believe that God's name is like Elohim, which Elohim means multiple aliens, basically. Like it's not a name. Joseph Smith, in my opinion, was an absolute con man. He was a philanderer. That's why they did the polygamy thing. I think he was just trying to justify his philandering. That's my opinion. I don't, it's just wild. The Mormon story is wild, like the moving out west, everything that happened with the pioneers. So I think with the faith, there's also an identity there as well. Like that happens, right? And you can be proud if you're LDS descendants, like you can be proud of your ancestors for going across and creating, the pioneering stage. You can be proud of that, but still, question the belief system. That's, it's nuanced, right? Two things can be true. But they have these crazy, weird beliefs. It's the Latter-day Saints. It's not. So they definitely are a religion based around the end times, which is a lot like the Truther community, right? It's based around the end times. Now, their latest prophet, I think they call them. Now, listen, any religion that has prophets, that's Satanism 101. If a religion has a prophet, yes, exactly. Dragonfly, good. Yeah, legion, like the many, it's many, right? Elohim means many. It's a legion. It's not a name. Exactly, Karen. Absolutely. Cult choose bit of truth to capture their own narrative. Absolutely. So that's the polarity of darkness and light, right? You have a truth. The light is going to use it to help people. The dark is going to invert it and use it to own people, to enslave people. Anytime a religion has a prophet, that is a red flag for a negative polarity religion, satanic, whatever you want to call it. Because on the side of light, according to the law of one, we are all equal. We're all prophets. Congratulations. Just like Oprah, you get a car, you get a car. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. You're all prophets. Like you all have that divine connection to God. No one can tell you what God says about you. That is not their business. That is not how this game works. That is, yes, run. That is not how this game works. So to have a religion based around a prophet, kind of like the Pope, like what? What do you mean a Pope? Are you get out of here? Like we all the Pope. Guess what? You're the Pope. I'm the Pope. She's the Pope. He's the Pope. We're all the Pope. We all have that divine connection to God. We all get gut feelings. We all get messages. It is not up to anybody else to tell us what God thinks of us or what God has in plan for us. No other human being has the ability to tell us where our soul goes. That is not up to them. It is between you and God. That is it. You come in this world with God and you leave this world with God, right? You're not alone when you come in and you're not alone when you leave. You're with God. It is just you and God. And that's all this is about. So any religion that's going to keep you conditioned to somebody else telling you what God thinks about you, get the fuck out of here. Like you are way too good for that. That is not you. Absolutely not. Absolutely. I cannot tell you what God's plan is for you. That is between you and God. I can, we seek counsel and I'm a teacher outside of this. I get advice from my teachers, but not once has my teacher in India ever told me what God wants for me. Not once. He just asked me thought-provoking questions to help me figure it out for myself. And that's what I hope to do with my students. Ask them questions to help them figure it out for themselves. I'm not going to tell them what their divine plan is. And so anytime that happens, that is a huge red flag. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We see the prophets of the Old Testament. Those guys were pieces of shit. Let me tell you, they were, we'll say, carpooling women. They were doing all that stuff. They were doing the blood stuff. Solomon was worshiping Moloch. Like this is just gross. It's gross, right? Absolutely not. And so when we look at the Mormon church, we really see, even though like in Catholicism, we have a pope, we have bishops, all that kind of stuff. I think more people in like mainstream Christianity, because it's so old, kind of have the feeling like I have, like, well, it's between me and God anyway, because it's so old. It's such an old faith. It's just kind of there now, even though you guys know I come down hard on the Christian church too. Like there is the establishment Christian church is no good, but nuanced in society, most people are, they're cool. They're just, living their life. And I think you guys know what I'm saying. But with Mormonism, it's a new religion. And so when something is new, it's dogmatic. And so these Mormons are very addicted to the system of Mormonism as established by that numbskull Joseph Smith, that philanderer. Talk about malignant narcissistic personality disorder. That was Joseph Smith, right? Yeah. Fascinating. I think Emma Smith, his actual wife, I would love to learn more about her. Like my heart goes out to her because women didn't really have much say back in those days. And so Lord have mercy, did she go on a ride with him? But there is, yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Somebody decides what to think. Yeah, you can't, no prophet is going to, there's no prophet. You're your own prophet. Like, no. You can go to people for advice and for help on a situation, but ultimately it's up to you. And so they have this prophet, they have this quorum of the 12 or something. It's very, very occult. And they take a lot from Freemasonry. The LDS does. Their temple services, they're a religion based on secrecy. I mean, yeah, the Christian church has missing books that they ban from people, but for the most part, like we get the gist of Christianity, like Jesus, he died. There's a gist of what this faith is across the board. Yeah. But within Mormonism, anybody can go into a Christian church. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to be a Christian to go into a Christian church, right? Unless you're Joel Osteen, he locks his doors, but he's a story for a different day. Talk about the system. But with Mormonism, they have these temples where you have to have a temple recommend, and they do these crazy rituals in their white outfits, and they do baptisms for the dead, which Kresha had talked about that being a part of necromancy. Absolutely, she's right. That is necromancy. So is sainthood in the Catholic Church is necromancy. It's summoning the dead. It's weird, right? And like, I'm sorry, when I die, don't baptize me in death. I don't consent. I don't consent. Oh, 5 a.m. and Wednesday morning. Good morning from Australia, Lori. Um, so they had this prophet. I think he was old guy. The last one, I can't remember his name, but he recently just passed away. And he is the one, do you guys remember, even the mainstream people, when all of a sudden we can't call them Mormons anymore, right? All of a sudden calling them a Mormon is derogatory. That's a new thing. You are now a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay. I have my thoughts on that because I believe any of their prophets, to be honest with you, are all high up in this system, high up in this club that we're not a part of, like high up. I think he did that for a reason. And I don't think it had anything to do with being derogatory. I think that they have been trying for a very long time to make the LDS, the LDS the same as like a Presbyterian or a Methodist or a Baptist, like a mainstream Christian. We're not Mormons, because if you call somebody a Mormon, then you're not calling them a Christian. You're calling them a Mormon. You're separating them. They're trying to merge the two, in my opinion, but they're very different. Now, again, I don't really believe in religion anyway at all. I just think religion's stupid. I think that God is God, and I think God is, it's stupid. It's too stressful. Religion is way, way too stressful for any faith. But I think that if we are comparing Mormonism, and I'm going to keep calling them Mormons because I think that is what they're trying not to do, because it's not Christianity. They're not the same thing. They're very different. Listen, Mormonism is like extra. I mean, most Christians would be like, when do you actually breathe? Like, you're always at the ward or whatever you call it, the stake, or, they don't even, it's, I mean, and I have my problem with both. Again, I'm not saying that the Christian church is great. It's not at all. It's at all, but they're different. It's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Okay. And so I think what they're trying to do is take that mystique away. There's a lot of money in Mormonism. There's a lot of money in Christianity too. Again, and then Scientology. These are big billionaire businesses. But yeah, I more I should drop the F. More. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, Kim Terry said your message was to YT. YT is part of that same system. Trust me. But it's and again, I'm not talking about the average Mormon. Like every Mormon I've ever known has been the coolest, nicest human being. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about them as a system. I'm talking about the powers that be. And they all play together, right? Like, wasn't the last prophet just at the Catholic Church visiting with the Pope? But don't Mormons also believe like Catholics are going to burn in the fit? It's what they say and what they do are two totally different things. Yeah. And yeah, so that's why I think he doesn't want people called Mormons anymore. He wants them to kind of merge with mainstream Christianity. And Lauren Matthias, we know that she was raised Mormon. She has talked about that on her channel before. That's why I think she's obsessed with these Mormon crimes. And I've heard her say before that she considers herself Christian, which makes sense if she has controlled opposition. Because I've heard a lot of other Mormons say, no, I'm a Mormon. Like, I don't know why this guy, Hinckley, was that his name? This guy is like saying we can't call I'm a Mormon. Like, that's my identity. So, but she's going with that Christian thing. I also watched her Mormon Story episode. And at first there were parts of her story that was very like touching, that I can, human parts of her story. But it was weird because she kind of jumbled her words at the end. Like, I didn't understand what she was saying. Like, she was like, I still consider myself to be LDS. I'm a Christian, but I don't know if I believe in God. Like, it was very like wishy-washy, which was weird to me. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else caught that. Like, I don't consider myself to have a religion, but I absolutely, I called my name for, oh, really? Wonderful for Wanderer? Yes. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Wonderful one. Yes, absolutely. I'm reading the chat right now. This is why I usually don't do lives, because I just want to see what you guys have to say. But like for me, I'm pretty clear on what I believe. Like I don't believe in religion, but I absolutely believe in God. I absolutely believe in God. I mostly follow the law of one as far as a template for spirituality, and I have my yoga practice. Like that's kind of my beliefs. I'm pretty cool with that. I know what I believe. And she just was very wishy-washy, right? But then I was thinking, if she has controlled opposition, then of course she's going to go with like, oh, we're Christians, right? It also came up that she's in the same ward as a lot of these big wig Mormons that are like in the media, like Elizabeth Smart, her family. Was the Ballards, are they also in her ward? Which we're going to talk about the Ballards, because that is somewhere where I think the truthers went way off course with Sound of Freedom and the Ballards. I think that they just have no clue, because they don't research, right? They think they research because they watch YouTube videos, but the stuff Kresha was pointing out with Tim Ballard, Sound of Freedom, Angel Studios in connection to Satanism is alarming, and is already something that I had already suspected. Okay. Sound of Freedom, that movie would not have been as big as it was if it was about anything good. And there's some accusations about these children that he saved. Where are these children now, basically? And he's also someone that is reads this Visions of Glory book, which I'm going to pull up a synopsis of it here in a minute. As Jodi and Ruby Franke were big Visions of Glory people, and a lot of the truthers are following this false belief of the Visions of Glory. Now, I've got Visions of Glory sitting in my cart on Amazon. I've thought about buying it to read it, to talk more about it, but I've heard so many people talk about it that I literally just went to ChatGPT and pulled up a synopsis to show you guys Visions of Glory, the summary, and how this relates to this satanic cult that I think Kresha is talking about with her nephew and cousins unaliving. So Visions of Glory, One Man's Astonishing Account of the Last Days, is a controversial spiritual book written by John Pontius, published in 2012. It claims to record the near unaliving experience and prophetic visions of an anonymous Latter-day Saint, a man known as Spencer. So overview, the book presents Spencer's visions as first-person narrative describing his near unaliving experience and what he saw in the spirit world, future events leading up to the second coming of Jesus Christ, a series of catastrophic and apocalyptic scenes supposedly revealed to him by God. Major themes: the spirit world and the veil. Spencer describes leaving, I'm trying to watch my words, guys, temporarily, and entering a spirit world filled with teachings, healings, and preparation. He claims that he met angels, Christ, and other exalted beings who showed him the divine order of heaven. Heaven has no divine order, you guys. That's a pecking order. Pecking order is of the satanic side. There's no pecking order in heaven. The cleansing of America. The vision predicts massive natural disasters, economic collapse, war and chaos across the United States. There is an emphasis on righteous communities being gathered and protected, especially in the Rocky Mountains, Utah region. Of course, why not? That's why he's from, right? Where he's from. Zion and the New Jerusalem. After a period of tribulation, survivors from Zion, a society of peace, purity, and divine presence. Spencer describes Christ's return and the millennial reign. Spiritual preparation. The book heavily emphasizes personal righteousness, repentance, clarity, and spiritual gifts. We're going to talk about that. Spencer stresses the importance of listening to spiritual promptings and preparing temporarily for food storage, faith, etc. Controversy, unofficial. The LDS Church does not endorse or sanction Visions of Glory. We're going to talk about that. It is considered private speculation rather than revelation. Criticism: many within the outside of the LDS Church view the book as sensational, apocalyptic, and speculative. Following: despite that, it developed a strong grassroots following among prepper-minded, spiritually visionaries, Latter-day Saints, especially in Utah and Idaho. Connection to other figures. This book has been referenced in connection with people like Chad and Lori Daybell, whose extremist beliefs overlap with some of its imagery, though the author never endorsed such interpretations. So let's talk about that. So for those, oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Awesome. Oh, you lost the video. Sometimes that happens on on phones if you're on your phone. But hopefully, if you heard it, hopefully, I'm gonna try. Okay, we'll talk about this at the end because I really would like to get StreamYard. I just can't afford it right now. But I'm gonna talk about that at the end in a second. So you can also go to ChatGPT and type in visions of glory and pull it up, and you can see what I just read. So basically, this book is about this guy who had a NDE, a near death experience. And he basically, in the book, is shown all these things about these end of time prophecies that are coming, spiritual gifts, pulling spiritual gifts, all that kind of stuff. Now, this is wild. The people I've listened to break down this book, it's wild. I'm like, it sounds like the guy didn't have an NDE. It sounds like he was on some great hallucinogens, in my opinion. Like, most people who have near death experiences don't talk about what he talked about. In fact, there's documentaries online, great documentaries about people who have had these experiences, and they all tell the same story. My grandfather, I've talked about my dad's dad, who is no longer with us. He had an NDE back when he was like 45, I believe. I wasn't born yet, but his story never changed. It was nothing like they're talking about in Visions of Glory. He had a heart attack, went to the hospital. He said he remembered floating above his body, hearing the doctor and the nurse talk, saw a light, walked into the light. He said he saw Jesus, is who he said, I think you see who you're comfortable with seeing. But Jesus basically kept telling him, Ed, you can't go back. You have to go back. It's not your time. You can't be here. You have to go back. It's not your time. And my grandfather basically threw my grandmother under the bus and was like, no, it's cool. Marianne's got this. I want to stay here. I love it here. And Jesus was like, no, you have to go back. And then he woke up in his hospital room. No one really believed him until he started telling his story about what the doctors and the nurses were talking about. And that's when they realized, because he had flatlined. But that was his NDE, and he never feared death after that, never. And so there was none of this grandiose, like, I saw the end of time. And when you see people who genuinely have these experiences, they say the same thing my grandfather said. They walked into a light, it was super peaceful, and they came back, right? There's not a lot of this grandiose, I'm so special because God gave me all these secrets, right? Because that's what it's doing. It's separating people. I'm special. You're not, because God showed me all these things and didn't show you these things. But people who have a real NDA don't act like they're any more special than anybody else. If you know, they're very humble, and they're like, no, death is fine. It's not. They don't act like they know the fate of the world to come. They talk about these like spiritual gifts that everybody's going to have, which is happening in the truther community. People think they're out fighting dragons at night, right? How many truther channels are telling people that reading from tarot cards? It's bullshit. You're here to be a human. You're here to human right now. Yeah. And so we see a lot of similarities between this Visions of Glory cult and this truther community, right? Which is what really piqued my interest, was that there are so many similarities here. We also see, one thing I noticed too was like, everyone's all save the children, which me too, I'm save the children, like children shouldn't be touched. But then I started noticing in these truther chats on like Telegram and stuff that people were saying, well, but these children who are from this family, they need to go. And I remember thinking, wow. So you're save the children, but only the children that you deem are worthy of being saved. Sounds just like the cabal to me. Sounds no different than the establishment. And that's when I really started to pull out. Same thing in Visions of Glory, right? Like JJ and Tylee were painted black, like something was wrong with them. They were zombies now. They weren't humans anymore. They were dehumanized. That's why they were taken out. Yeah. So save the children though, right? Because Jesus, right? But then Crusha said something very interesting on her channel that I had never heard before. And I'm so happy she said this. And don't quote me, I'm paraphrasing what she brought up: cannibalism. We know that happens. And she talked about Tylee's remains. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to go suggest you watch her video. I know other channels will clip and show other videos. I would rather you go give her the view. She's going to need it. I'm worried. If I could talk to her, I would say be careful, because they will probably start shadow banning her. Right now, it's so new that I think that the algorithm hasn't picked it up yet. Now, as this gets back to Lauren, and again, I'm going to suggest you watch her episode. I had actually scheduled this live about Lauren being part of the LDS controlled opposition, and then I saw she did a video on it, and I watched it. Really, please go and watch her video, because she has far more receipts than I'll ever be able to have, because she was in it. Yeah, that's the only problem with deep diving, is that you can only go so far when you don't have experience, right? We don't have experience. I'm not a Mormon. I've never been a Mormon. So there's only so far I can go with my research before it gets to the point where I'm not going to understand it, because I've never been in a Mormon temple. Now, neither has Kresha, but her children, or her nephew and her cousin, were victims of this. And so it's a little bit different, because her uncle did convert to the LDS Church to make Lori happy. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I think because of that, because her uncle was in it for Lori, she had a more of a peripheral view, like a bird's eye view of what was going on, even though she herself wasn't in it. Where for me, I can only assume certain things, because I've never actually been in a temple. I don't plan on going. I find Mormonism very fascinating. I don't want to be a part of it. It's totally satanic. I don't want that. But and then she talks about Lauren getting super close to her family. And something that, and again, this is just, I haven't had a conversation with her. This is just what I gather from watching her shows. It seems like Lauren caused a divide between Kresha and her mom, who is JJ's grandmother. Kresha's his aunt. And maybe started to dismiss Kresha's theories and speculation based on her research into the LDS Church. And of course, if you're a grieving grandmother and you're going through these trials and you're trying to find out what happened, first trying to find out what happened to your grandson, and then going through the trials, and it's on public. There's Netflix documentaries. It's publicly, it's all over the news. Of course, it's going to be overwhelming to then sit down and realize that Lori and Chad were prepping for a satanic New World Order. They might not have known that, though. And Kresha did talk about the Process Church. Funnily enough, on Friday, as you guys know, I was filmed for a mainstream documentary. We talked a lot about the Process Church of Final Judgment. And the Process Church of Final Judgment connects to Scientology. It also connects to Charles Manson. It also connects to Son of Sam. So our Lori and Chad Daybell, like David Berkowitz, were they Manchurian candidates who were MK Ultra'd to do this for a satanic purpose for the higher ups. And this is something, this is why I would love to talk to. I sent her an email. I'm not going to bother her, though. I know she's being slammed with emails. I would love to talk to her about this, because I believe her. Like, I believe her. And I feel so bad, because sometimes I hear her talking and it's like she gets, I get tongue tied too, a little tongue tied, but I think she's like, it sounds to me like she's kind of scared to put out her, probably because she's been chastised by Lauren for years for this. Because I think Lauren's job, in my opinion, Lauren did work for mainstream media. She was a news anchor. She is part of the LDS. And I think Lauren kiboshed it. I think Lauren is protecting the church. She's protecting the system. That's my opinion based on everything that's happened. Yeah. My opinion could change. It often does. But right now, that's my opinion. And I believe Kresha. And I think I felt bad when she said, like, not many people know this. And I wanted to be like, yeah, no, a lot of people know this, girl. Like, you've just been put in a corner. You've been put in a corner all these years, but there's so many people who believe you, who know that you are telling the truth. So please, guys, please go and subscribe to her channel. Just support her, because more than me, because I didn't lose any relatives to this. She has lost, and I would love to connect her with Jesse Zaboter. Like, I would love to connect her with Kathy O'Brien, with Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son. I would love to make all those connections for her, to give her that support system from people that have been through it, that believe her, and that can help her connect more dots and get the truth out. I think when we don't, yes, Tylee and JJ, yes, their unalivers are now in prison, but there's more people. Justice has not fully been served. It has not fully, in my opinion. There are more people that need to be behind bars for this. I think the same thing is true with the Idaho 4. I don't think Brian Kroberger is their guy, honestly. I don't think, and there's so many TikTokers out there that are breaking down everything about the occult and what's going on with the Idaho 4 and Delphi. Don't even get me started on Delphi. What the fuck? And for those of us that are going like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right, we get laughed at and told that we're crazy or stupid. And I think that's also what Lauren is afraid of with these text messages coming out, because she's not being stalked, guys. We've already clarified that. She's not being stalked. I think she's trying to do a hit piece, go ahead and put a hit piece out, so that when these text messages come out and it shows what she was really saying about people like Krusha behind the scenes, we think it's AI. I think her job, in my opinion, and I heard from someone, I don't know if this is true or not, I heard that she is being paid by the Mormon Church as well. We know they pay influencers. We know they do. I know they do. I've been offered money from certain people to promote certain ideas. Lots of money, and I turned it down. People I used to film with that I considered friends that I don't film with anymore, they did not turn it down. I wish I could tell you more about that, but I can't. We know that, listen, they just released footage of Netanyahu trying to pay influencers. This happens with everything, right? Every area of the world. It is all propaganda, especially now, back to what I talked about in the beginning. Now that we have YouTube, now that we got people like me and Krusha and you guys who are like, yeah, no, this is bullshit. They need to make sure that they can handle you, right? They want to handle us. Lauren, in my opinion, is being sent in as an independent mommy YouTube blogger who just happens to be a journalist for mainstream media, but she's a mommy YouTube blogger and she's a Mormon. She's being put in to handle these people, to handle them, so that the truth about the system is not released. Or if anybody finds out about the system, we can just go ahead and label them as crazy. That's what's going on. And damn it, you guys, like when I would watch Hidden True Crime, I was always like, damn it, we opened up our channels around the same time. They're at like over 300,000 subscribers. They're making like thousands of dollars a day. Look at them. And here I am, like, can't even afford to buy StreamYard. And yeah, I don't know if that's true, Joel. There's some, I would encourage you, Joel, to watch Crush's video. I think what you're being told is not what's actually being happened. I think what you're being told is a very curated narrative. Very curated. And I don't think it's actually the truth. So, and I know we're going to get trolls. I know Lauren's flying monkeys. They've been all over everybody's channels, guys. Like, we know that's, listen, Joel, buddy, I've been at this for 6 years. I'm used to this. So you're not going to stop me from my beliefs. I'm a pretty good researcher. I'm pretty smart. I'm sorry I didn't pick up on the Hidden True Crime sooner. Like, that's where I feel bad. And that's why I'm still subscribed to them, is because I'm keeping an eye on them. Because again, I don't have people. I can't pay people to research for me. I do YouTube. I also teach. I also have Fusion Body Studio, all that. I'm so busy that that's the way I keep up with things, right? Is if you look at my Instagram, who I'm subscribed to, it's a wild ride of people I'm subscribed to or follow on Instagram. It's because I'm keeping up. it's because I'm keeping up with things. Like there's crazy people I'm subscribed to on Instagram, but it's because I'm keeping up with what they're putting out. Yes, Tony, I will put that once I get off, or Tanya, sorry, I can't see. Tanya, I will post that once we're done. Just because I don't think, unless, does anybody want to moderate and go and get that video for me? Does anybody know the video I'm talking about? And I can make you a moderator and you can put it in the, let's see. Or I can, yeah, just if anybody wants to be a moderator, let me know and I can get you guys to put it in the link, or I can just put it in I'll pin it in the comment section when I get done. Okay. I wish I know it's lunchtime. It's a weird hour. So my moderators aren't here right now, but that's okay. That's okay. So, yeah. So anyway, I also want to talk about Dr. John, because he was my favorite part of Hidden True Crime. Honestly, I didn't watch the videos that she did by herself. I like to listen to Dr. John because I like psychiatry. I like therapy, but people have brought up some alarming stuff about him. And I will say one thing I did notice about Dr. John is that one thing we do in traditional yoga that maybe is different from psychiatry is that we practice the theory. And I've talked about this before, like when you look at the Yoga Sutras and the idea of Prakriti and Purusha, like you have to put it into practice for it to make sense. You could sit around and talk theory all day, but unless you put it into practice, it's not fully going to integrate. And there was some things that about Dr. John going back that I don't know, Karen. Do you think she's his handler or he's hers? That's the question now. Because some people had found some weird connections, and I can't speak totally on this because I haven't looked into it that much. Some weird connections with some affiliations that he has. So I don't know. So what's your idea, Kara? Do you think she handles him or do you think he handles her? I would love to know. But, that 9-hour video, there was some crying in the hotel yeah, I've been watching some, sorry, it's hard for me to see y'all's names because my eyesight. Yeah, I've watched a lot of other people's channels I'd never heard of. I've listened to their breakdown of this, especially in the true crime world, because I'm not in the true crime world, right? I'm a deep diver. I look at some true crime cases, but I'm mostly looking at history stuff. So I'm not fully in the true crime world. And so when I found some of these other channels and I listened to more of the backstory of all this, I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, they're totally controlled opposition. Listening to stuff that I wasn't even aware of, because I'm not fully immersed in the true crime. I did though, you guys. I can't stand Reddit. I think Reddit is a cesspool, but I finally broke down and made a Reddit account just to be able to follow this as well, because they do post. And unfortunately I had some stuff pulled up to show you guys, but I lost everything. But if you are on Reddit yourself, you can go to the Hidden True Crime and you'll see all these receipts and stuff. It's wild. So I'm not planning on making any comments. Please, Reddit, I don't have time for that. Those shenanigans. Not my circus, not my monkeys, but I'll lurk on Reddit. But one thing I wanted to, you think she handles him? Yeah. It'll be interesting. And guys, this is all speculation. I just want to make that very clear for people watching. We're just speculating, giving our opinions right now. Now, something I wanted to end with, and this is I have a video that's dropping at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, Tuesday, November 4th. And it's the next installment of our Sergei Monast viewing of his documents over that. Now, this cannot be on YT. Cannot be on YT. Obviously, cannot be on YT. So it's going to be dropped over on RUMBLE. It will also be dropped on Substack. So if you are subscribed to my Substack, you will get it emailed to you directly with the video. Okay. But in this, it's fascinating the things they talk about connected to this project. They talk about psychiatry. And this is just part one. I have a whole other document we're going to do next. It's part two. They talk about psychiatry. And it made me think of Dr. John. Now, here's the thing. I've been through trauma therapy before. I loved my therapist. So when I say this, I know I am not going to paint everybody with the same brush and I've been big on that. I know there's some bad therapists out there. I get that. I know there are therapists that are absolutely a part of the system, that push, that mind control. I get it. But I also know that there are therapists that really want to help people that are not interested in hurting people. My experience with my therapist was incredible. She really helped me. And so I don't want to, when I say this, I am not accusing Dr. John of this at all, at all. I'm just looking at similarities. Maybe they're coincidences. I don't know. But in this, they talk about how they are going to eventually have, and this was written in the 90s, you guys. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They're going to have therapists trained to diagnose people. So people like us who don't want to follow, we're not into Simon Says. Like, we don't play Simon Says, right? Like, we question things. I'm not going to do what the government, I'm not even going to do, like, it doesn't matter who the president is. I'm not into a dictatorship. Like, I'm still have my own mind. I'm still going to make my own decisions. I'm not going to do something just because a political leader tells me to do, or a celebrity tells me to do it. But you guys are the same way, or you wouldn't be here right now, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to start labeling people like us who have our own mind, who don't fall for this, or if we do fall for it and we course correct, we admit our mistakes and we course correct, like I did with hidden true crime. These psychiatrists are going to be trained to label us as antisocial. What do I mean by that? Antisocial is like psychopaths, malignant narcissist, because we will not follow with the system. And then eventually they're claiming we will be collected, rounded up, and sent to a camp. Now, what's interesting, you guys, that 4-hour follow-up video they did to the 9-hour live, one thing I noticed, I was like, can he do this? I didn't think he could do this. Was that he was diagnosing the stalker. Wasn't he, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he diagnosing her as a psychopath? All because she was pushing back from Lauren. She was trying to expose Lauren, who I believe now is protecting the system and the LDS Church. And she's coming in and handling these situations. Isn't that fascinating? Like, when I read that yesterday, I was like, well, I'll be damned. Did we not just see that on a show? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did I not just see that? Because when he did that, I remember I was driving and I had it playing in my car, and he was saying, this person displays, and I remember thinking, is he allowed to do that? Because she's not his client. Like, is he allowed to do that? Like, diagnose her? So I remember having that thought, but I'll be damned. I'll be damned. It's right here. Right here. And to do a 9-hour live because somebody made a TikTok making fun of you. Didn't even say your name. To try to get the court involved. I mean, what? So anyway, you guys, this episode again is dropping in about a little over 2 hours over on RUMBLE or on Substack. Again, if you're on Substack, it'll get emailed directly to you from my Substack account. So you'll just have it right there in your inbox. And I can't wait to see what you guys think of that. Think of this after hearing this with the psychiatry part. And I'm really curious to see what the next batch of documents over this project that I have to go through next. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm really curious to see like what, if they go into that further, because, so anyway, you guys, so I think we're at 1 hour, 38 minutes. Do you guys have anything else you want? I mean, I really want you to go watch Crush's story. Again, I tried when they found the bodies of the kids in was it 2021? I can't remember exactly the date they found them, but I remember wanting to explore this, and I found some people. I watch Mormon Stories. I do watch Mormon Stories. I watched her interview on Mormon. I actually, John DeLynn, the guy who does it, I actually really like him. Like, I get good vibes off of him. I don't agree with a lot of the things he says, like politically, but I really but that's okay. We don't all have to agree on everything, but I get good vibes from him. But I know people do believe he is also controlled opposition. I don't know. I haven't felt. I feel like he's really like trying to like just expose Mormonism. That's kind of what I get. I know. Well, I thought she was fake crying. I remember when I first turned it on, I watched the replay and I was like, she's not crying. Her makeup didn't move. Like nothing happened with her makeup. And that hotel room where she's crying in her bed being filmed, like you set that up. Like what? It's like people who film their breakups or film bad things, they actually have to like set their camera up, and like what? When I'm in an emotionally distressed moment, I'm not thinking about turning my camera on at all. Right? Like I don't yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. And I'm glad I make sense to you guys. And your English is perfect. Absolutely. Your English is way better than me in any other in any other. Yeah, Karen, it's insulting. Like I was watching that and I was like, why are we watching her in a hotel bedroom like having a breakdown talking about well, she talked about how she was accused of having an affair. And I've seen other people, when she said that, I was like, ooh, she had an affair. Like when she said that, that's the first thing that hit my gut was like, oh, I think that's true. Like something in my gut was like, yeah, she had an affair. I don't know if it's true or not. That was just my gut. And somebody else said that, brought that up on another video. And I was like, thank God. When people like validate something that you're feeling too. And they go, and when that other person said that, I was like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one that thought, ooh, that kind of feels in my body like that might be true when you're trying to get ahead of it. So I don't know. Like I just it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but it makes sense why they make so much money. Makes sense why they're making so much money and the rest of us who are trying to put the truth out are in poverty because that's how the system works. If you play the game with the system will support you. But the system will also turn its back on you. And I would rather be poor and live in truth and speak the truth and be humble and be constantly trying to find the truth than be rolling in the dough but not being integral. So anyway, you guys, so yeah, I think that's it. I never know how to end a live. Like when I do pre-recordings, like I know how to end it. So I never know how to end a live. Make sure you're subscribed to Todd over at the Confused Wanderer. I'll put all this in the description box. Once this, I think it's got to take a few minutes to kind of like upload itself. And then I'll put it all, I'll go and edit the description box and add in things for you guys. Subscribe to my Substack so you can get updated whenever I drop a video. Oh, that's one thing too. There might not be any more videos this week. I've got to film. So for those of you who are new, I have an online fitness boutique. This is what I do for a living. I went to India, spent years in India, only female in the state authorized to teach this particular form of traditional yoga. I took that information and I put it into modern day exercises. It's called Fusion Body Studio. We've now created a bar for men where we're specifically working with Todd's the demo. And so we're going to be filming that on Friday, I believe, a new bar for men workout video for Fusion Body Studio. If you're new here, that'll be down in the description box below. It's what I do offline. You can use my name, Bryce, BRICE20 for 20% off. If you want to join us, you also get 7 days for free to try it if you want to try it. Otherwise, you guys, I think I will also be on Catherine Edwards' channel. Another person, y'all, Catherine Edwards has taken just as many hits as I have. She has lost everything just like me because she has refused to take a knee and she has refused. So support Catherine as well because she is also just as shadow banned as I am because she has dared to say no to both the truth world and the normie world. So make sure you support Catherine too. I'll be on her channel. Our coffee chat is over on her channel on Thursday of this week. And I think Paul and I might do something as well. I don't know, but it might be kind of quiet the rest of the week, but that might give my channel a chance to kind of trying to play the whole game of the internet. So anyway, you guys, we got a lot of fun Thanksgiving deep dives and urban legends to get into this month, just to have some fun. You got to have fun too. And send me your recipes. If you want to be a part of the Esoteric Atlanta Community Cookbook, send me your recipes to esotericatlanta@gmail.com. Put recipe in the subject line and I will get all that together. You'll have till December 5th. And so we can create our own little cookbook that we can share on PDF form. It's free. We'll do it for free with everybody around the world. So, all right, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, everybody.